Most people didn't notice her. Just a quiet woman in her 50s, wearing a brown coat and sitting in the corner seat of the last subway car every evening. Her hands moved constantly, knitting needles clicking soft like whispered music. She didn't ask for money, she didn't make eye contact. She just knitted, row after row. Her name was Marcia. People only knew because the train conductor once said, "Take care, Miss Marcia," when she got off at the last stop. She didn't speak often, but every night, 7 nights a week, she was there. Same spot, same yarn, same quiet rhythm. Some rolled their eyes. Some whispered, "What's with the knitting?" Some kids joked, "Grandma making mittens for ghosts." But Marcia never looked up. She just kept stitching. It was the downtown line, Blue Route, from 108th Street to King Station, an hour down, an hour back. She never missed a ride. Even in snow, even when it rained, even on holidays. She always had a bag on her lap, full of yarn, folded scarves, and a small card with a feather printed on it. She sat near the window, her eyes focused, her hands calm, and the scarf in her lap always changed color halfway through, from deep gray to bright gold, from navy to lavender, like a shadow turning into light. One Thursday, a man in a business suit stepped onto the train. He was tired, frustrated. His briefcase was worn and his phone battery was dead. He saw Marcia knitting and shook his head. "You do this every day?" he asked, louder than needed. She didn't answer. He scoffed. "You know nobody wants those old things, right?" Still no answer. He leaned a little closer. "Why waste your time making scarves for strangers?" That's when she looked up. Her eyes were soft, tired, but steady. She reached into her bag and handed him a folded card. The man took the card and flipped it open. It said, "Each scarf is for a woman rebuilding her life. Every stitch is a prayer. Every thread is a piece of hope." On the back, there was a small handwritten note. "If you've never had to run barefoot through the cold, if you've never held your child and told them it would be okay when you weren't sure it would be, then maybe you don't need this scarf, but someone else does." The man stared at it, and for once, he had nothing to say. Later that week, the conductor told another rider more of the story. "Marcia's been doing this for years," he said. "She used to be a nurse, quiet, smart, lost her sister to domestic violence, said she couldn't save her, but she'd help someone else. Every night, she rides 2 hours, there and back, knits on the way down, drops off scarves at a shelter near King Station, rides home with her empty bag and full heart. She makes one scarf a night, more on weekends, all handmade, all personal, all different, some with warm, thick yarn for winter, some light and soft for spring, each one tagged with a note. You are not forgotten, you are not alone." Marcia doesn't take donations, doesn't post online, doesn't ask for help. She buys yarn with her grocery money. She skips new clothes, new shoes, even haircuts, because her mission matters more. Some people bring her leftover yarn, now. They leave it in a paper bag, near her usual seat. She always nods in thanks, and keeps knitting. Even on the hardest days, the train delays, the broken heater, the noisy passengers. Her hands don't stop. She once told the conductor, "I couldn't save my sister, but I can warm another woman's shoulders. I can say what she didn't get to hear." The man didn't say anything else. He just stood there, holding the card, staring at the woman with yarn in her lap, and patience in her eyes. The train began to slow. His stop was next. He took a deep breath, looked down at the scarf around his own neck. Clean, soft, store-bought, and gently pulled it off. He walked back across the car, held it out to Marcia. "Someone else might need this," he said, voice lower now. No edge, just understanding. Marcia looked up, surprised. Her hands paused mid-stitch. Then came the smallest smile, the kind that sits more in the eyes than the mouth. She nodded once, and accepted the scarf. Not as a gift, but as a sign. The moment was quiet, but something had changed. Weeks passed, the nights grew colder, and Marcia's yarn changed with the season. Thicker threads, darker colors, stitches made tighter to keep the wind out. One Thursday evening, just after 10 p.m., a young woman stepped onto the train, holding a toddler in one arm and a tote bag in the other. She stood near the door, tired, unsure of where to sit. Marcia looked up, and for a second, so did the woman. Their eyes met. Then the woman's lips parted. You're the scarf lady. Marcia tilted her head. The woman stepped closer, voice softer now. I got one of your scarves, 2 years ago. Pink, soft. I was staying at the shelter with my baby. We had nothing, but that scarf. It made me feel like someone out there cared. She smiled, eyes glistening. I still have it. Marcia didn't speak. She just reached into her bag, unwrapped a bright yellow scarf with smooth edges and even loops, and handed it over. It's not much, she whispered. The woman took it in both hands. It's everything. She wrapped it around her daughter's neck. And that night, one act of kindness came full circle, from stranger to survivor, back to the source. Today, Marcia still rides the same train, same route, same car, same seat near the window. Some folks call her the Scarf Lady. Others call her Miss Marcia. The children just stare in wonder, eyes wide, as they watch her fingers dance with thread, like magic. She never rushes. She never talks much. But every scarf she makes gets folded gently, wrapped with care, and tucked into her bag, like a love letter the world doesn't know it needs yet. At the shelters, her donations are now known as armor. Not because they protect skin, but because they protect dignity. They tell a cold, scared person, you matter, you are not forgotten. One shelter manager said, people come in trembling, they haven't eaten, they haven't been touched gently in weeks, and then they open a bag, with a handmade scarf, and for a moment, their whole body breathes differently. They say Marcia's scarves hold a kind of warmth that lasts longer than fabric. Because the truth is, sometimes love is looped into every fiber. One day, without her knowing, the City Transit Authority placed a small plaque on her usual train car. Wooden, carved, polished by hand. It reads, one woman, one pair of hands, thousands of stitches, a city wrapped in care. In honor of Marcia, the Scarf Lady. Now, whenever someone new boards the late train and sees her knitting, they look twice. Some nod, some smile, some just sit quietly and wonder who might wear the scarf she's making tonight. They thought she was wasting her time, but each stitch held a story, a prayer, a piece of healing. She didn't knit for attention. She knitted so survivors could carry hope on their shoulders. And in the quiet hum of the train, she wrapped a broken world in warmth.